So we just finished filming at Ashbourne Road. Just going to hop in the car now with Matt, my videographer, and we're going to have a little bit of chat about property. Yo, yo.
Yo, yo, Cheung.
Hello.
What's going on,
That's
man?
my favourite videographer.
Your only one, hopefully.
Yeah.
How's it going?
All good, all good. Just finished filming at Ashbourne Road. And I'm just going to go for a drive, right? Just talk a bit about property, right?
Yeah, man. We spend a lot of time doing this, don't we? We spend a lot of time just driving around Derby and talking about, like, yeah, what you're doing and what you're up to and stuff. And I thought it'd be cool for us to film that and, you know, give people an idea of kind of, well, what we do when we kind of do our thing, and also what you do as well. Unbelievable! Because I've dabbled in sort of a few things, property-wise, but never, anything of the size of things that you do. But I remember looking at Derby and thinking, it seems like a pretty good option. But what was the decision for you for here?
I think when I went on my first training, it was always like, pick your location first, because the key thing is if you find the right location, if it can be in close proximity to where I live, then it's a bonus because I'm not spending all the time and travelling. I know there's guys down in London that they have to travel up to like Newcastle just to get these best deals. And when I was doing my research, I actually looked as far as over there, and then I thought, do I really want to be on the M1 for like 2-3 hours? Yes, I'll probably get a house for like 20-30 grand cheaper, but I came across Derby and it's only 20 minutes from, well, not 20, okay, it should really be about 40 minutes. Obviously I've been speeding. Yeah, it's only 20 minutes from Tamworth where I grew up, and out of coincidence, my dear half, my wife, at the time she was my girlfriend, she worked in Derby, she grew up in Derby. I think it just felt right, I guess, as well as, so it wasn't just about the numbers. Numbers worked great because I was picking up houses for like 100 grand, 120 grand, and when I was taught property, it's kind of, you look at the end value, and then when you work backwards, you know what your refurb costs are, which are about back then it was like 60, 70k, and then now the more quality we're putting in, we're reaching up to about 100k for a refurb with all the fees and planning as well. And when you get to that purchase figure, you get to about the 120, 130k house, and that's like the all money out kind of offer,
the MIMO,
really.
Right?
The MIMO, yeah, that's
the dream deal.
Yeah, I actually thought MIMO meant mini HMO.
Oh yeah?
and I realised, it's like, yeah, it's just
it does make
money
sense.
And money out.
Yeah, that does make sense though.
Yeah. So that was the reason why I picked Derby. I mean, it's got a university, it's got a hospital, you got town, you got job opportunities. Rents aren't too different to around the nation, really. So if you think about it, a lot of people talk about buy low, rent high. As long as you buy at the right price, it's always going to rent at that value. You could always put it as high as you can, but eventually it will level with, like, it'll be a level field playing with other investors in the area. Yeah. And if that works in the numbers, you still get your net cash flow. I was taught with HMOs minimum £1,000 for like a 5 or 6 bed HMO. The very first one achieved about 1,500 because it's brand new, less maintenance. But over the years, rents do level off. I was achieving about 550, 600 for a room at one point, and then now we're coming back down to like the 480s, the 500s. Right.
Is that because of just there's many of them here, or is it a demand issue, or?
You know what? I think it's like there's always going to be a new HMO investor on the block.
Yeah.
When they bring their newly renovated HMO, and then at the right time, say a tenant is looking for a room, are they going to go for a new HMO, or are they going to look for a older one, which probably looks pretty much the same, but not as well dressed, because when you first build a HMO, you've got brand new like furnishings, and you tend to leave everything there with all the dressings and stuff. But then as time moves on, you get a bit busy. They don't get dressed as much as like the newest stuff out there, and you will fall behind the competition, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Tell me about your first deal then. How did you, like, what made you get into it? How did you feel doing it? Because I know that a lot of my friends, they want to get into property, and they're kind of nervous. You know, they're kind of nervous. They haven't really done much education. How do you sort of value education as well? Did you do much of it?
I think education is massive. I've spent probably in the region of like 60 grand on like personal development, professional development.
Yeah.
Learned loads of courses on the way, and it's not just learning, it's actually going out there, doing the viewings, experiencing the builds, being on sites, being on other people's sites as well, and genuinely you do learn a lot of skills at other people's mistakes as well, being coached and mentored by other property investors.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think, isn't it? Surrounding yourself with...
I think the biggest issue is a lot of people say, wow, you're spending like 20, 30 grand on education.
Yeah, that's my deposit for a house kind of thing.
That's the deposit. I could just go out and do it myself, but then you can make so many mistakes that
definitely
end up being that education in itself, or even half of it, let's say. And it gets a bit lonely as well. You don't meet as many people. If you try and do it all yourself, you're just researching online.
Your network is your net worth, right?
That's it, your network is your net worth. And I feel as though a lot of people miss that out. And then I do get a few people do message me and they're like, why would I pay you 10 grand, let's say, to teach me how to do property? And it's like, well, it's a choice really. It also depends on how far you align your goals. Do you want to achieve your goals quickly? Is there an urgency? What are your circumstances? There's people that might be going through redundancy, like I've only got X amount of time. There might be people that are near their deathbed, let's say, to be morbid enough, and they have to make it work for their children, let's say.
Like Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
but just not crystal meth.
That's it. Yeah, we don't go down there.
Legal ways.
But yeah, to talk about my first HMO deal, it was actually one of the most brand spanking new deals. It was everything they taught me not to do.
Oh yeah?
So I went for an education. I didn't apply the first thing they say which is add value.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
And what I first bought was like a 2-bed, 2-lounge terrace, and I just thought I could turn this to like a 3-bed HMO, turn a lounge into another bedroom. Upstairs there's 2 rooms, quite sizable for a double bed, and there's a shared bathroom, shared kitchen. I bought it for 122,000.
What was it on for?
It was on for 125, I remember right.
Okay, so a little discount.
Little discount to pay for the legal fees. And it was my first house in my own name, so it kind of got me on the ladder for like lending in a way. As an example of that, commercial valuation was a really big stigma where like, ooh, you're going to be in negative equity, you're going to lose your house in 2-3 years time because you won't be able to pay the bank back. And I think it's basically leaning off other people's experiences. So they might have had like a bad experience and they're trying to inflict it on you, which is fine, but then sometimes you just got to pause and have a think of like, okay, how does that apply to me in the current market conditions?
Yeah.
Fair enough, there are markets back in the day where other things influence that change. Right now we're in a COVID market where people are losing jobs, people are on furlough, yet there's like every house that just goes within 2-3 days.
It's a crazy market right now, isn't it?
And everything's going over asking price, which is crazy as well.
Yeah.
So how do you predict stuff like that? So I've always said like I just need to work with the professionals, the brokers, solicitors, the people going to back my end at the end of the day and get the deal through.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been applying since day dot.
What's been your sort of biggest like financial challenges? Because I know that again, finances is something that is people get themselves kind of like worked up about it or whatever. But what has there been any sort of really difficult financial situations that you've had to deal with, you know, that you've had come up and you've had to deal with?
So I think it's initially at the start, how I planned it out was I said, look, I'll get these 2 free beds which I can turn it around within a month or 2, get the cash flow in, and they'll bring about £600-700 a month. At the same time, within 2-3 months I had 2 6-bedroom HMOs going for a refurb.
Right.
And I knew there's not going to be any income through those 6-bedroom HMOs, and could be funding the development throughout. Like you'll be paying for utility bills, let's say, for the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough, you're not living in there, but these bills like council tax you've still got to pay for.
Yeah.
So I always had in mind, it's like, okay, let's create an income to pay for the monthly outgoings rather than let's just take it out my wage, which I've had like worked hard for, and I think throughout that strategy, I grew from thinking I had to start off really, really small to build a big base. My thinking changed because of just loads of mindset courses. Like, look, it takes just as much effort to do a big deal compared to like a smaller deal.
Yeah.
And that's when I made the jumps from like the 6 beds to like the 14s and like the pub conversions. The process is slightly longer, but working with the right professionals again, you tend to get to the same outcome.
Yeah, I guess it's that worry for people, isn't it? Is that it's just more of a risk if things go wrong, the bigger the project kind of thing. But
so if you take a few steps back, it's like, oh, so how much money do you need to budget for? It's cash flow, really. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to be working on this project for 12 months. I've got a mortgage to pay, which you can roll up to the end of the development, so you don't have that financial burden every month of having to pay that bridge. Say like, oh, it's going to be £600-700 a month. Yeah. So as long as you've got cash flows and budgeting in mind, it tends to flow quite well. I've used development finance in the last year or two as well. So again, I'm not having to raise a lot of finance from investors. The bank fund 100% of the refurb costs, and I only need to find like 25 to 30% of the deposit.
That's really good. We should do another video looking into finance, just financing, because like development finance, I don't think that many people know that's even a thing,
Well, that's it, and I think it just opens. You imagine you've got a 100k pot. You could blow it all on one development with the refurb costs and the stamp duty and fees. But then if you've got a bank saying we'll give you 100% of refurb, which tends to cost 70 to 80 grand, let's say, you've just freed up 70, 80 grand of your capital, and that can go down for another deposit. Yeah, and then get the refurb for the next one as well, and do 2 instead of 1. Well, that's it. So that's exactly what I did last year. With like, I had 3 properties in the same vicinity, and the same builder could go around in each house and just do their first fixes in a row, like literally like a little train. Yeah, like a little conveyor belt. Yeah, so I think it just works well when you've got a good build team that's really organised, and everyone just stays accountable. Yeah. By the way, is that? Yeah, I've managed to find our way to one of your... You found a pub. Yeah, I found your pub. Yeah.